Oh lads, what a day. How's it going? Lately, anyone and everyone has been talking about this bloody Geese album. It's always, Vince, have you heard Getting Killed by Geese? Vince, what did you think of the Geese album? Vince, listen to Getting Killed by Geese. Eddie will be happy. So, in the spirit of making Eddie happy, which is very important to me, this evening's 3 hour car journey after work became a geeseathon, and thankfully not a getting killed-a-thon. Nice one, Vince. So I've got a little script written out here, and I'm, just gonna talk about some of my thoughts. I'm trying to be more spontaneous and kind of do more creative stuff. So I said, fuck it, why not? People wanted my thoughts anyways, so I'm gonna just present it a bit nicer, or not nicer, depending on how this video turns out. But we'll see. It's better than a voice note anyway. So, Geese, this is my first time listening to the band, and choosing to do it in a car actually had effects which I had never really experienced before with an album. So, there's this classic music making technique where, if you're making a song, you should play it in the car first, right? And that's how you kind of can catch on how the mix sounds, like for radio and things like that. And, I'd always heard that, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool, it makes sense. But today I feel like I actually heard it for the first time. Like, I honestly found much of the first half of this album really frustrating. Like, on paper, there was so much good material that I really enjoyed. Like, really nice choices, but the mixing felt atrocious. Like, it felt like the core backbone parts of the track were kind of getting buried in the background with, like, some of the kind of supplemental sounds in the front. So I feel like I couldn't pick them out, or they just didn't hit the way I wanted them to. They didn't jump out, and that kind of happened for a bit, and then I got to the song, and this is actually quite a good song, but I got to the song "The Islands of Men," and this song was exactly what I'd been looking for at that point. Instead of being this big collage of sound, "Islands of Men" was this really focused track that like very clearly builds up slowly, and that was clear from the beginning. So I was immediately like into it. I was like, okay, this is sick. This is what I've been looking for in the band. So a kind of real standout track that really grabs your attention, refocus. But so at the beginning of the track, there's like this high pitched percussion kind of track, and it's lovely. I don't know what to call it really. It's a little kind of high pitched drumming sound, um, and as the track starts to build up, it just disappears. I know that seems like a small thing, but for a track like this, it feels like it should be all coming together and building up. And what immediately went through my head was this vision of like Geese on stage, and they're like too shy. Like they're looking at their feet, they're hiding away, and I'm like, all I can think about is like, I want these guys to put their chests out. I really want them to perform with confidence and not hide in the mix, which is what I've been feeling so far. But in spite of this track was definitely kind of like a turning point in the album, and from here on out, like every track was a banger. And by the time I got to the track "Bow Down," I was actually popping off in the car. Like, Geese have arrived finally. So then on my second listen, I was like, okay, clearly that didn't work the first time. Clearly these first few tracks didn't work out how I wanted them to. So I was like, okay, this time I'm gonna blast the fucking music. So at a certain volume, the loud sounds became more background or swallowed. I don't know how to describe it. When you listen to music at a certain volume, certain noises can kind of become like backgroundish. I don't know how to put it, but it did actually help a lot. Like, I was able to focus a lot more on the tracks and hear things a lot more, which I really, really appreciated. Um, so the question is, was this Mac album mixed well? And at this point, obviously, I hadn't listened and very high quality. Yeah, I was still listening in the car. But was it the car's fault or was it the mix's fault? I'm not sure what the answer is to that question. But regardless, on the second listen, when it was really loud, I enjoyed it way more. And once came home, then I did listen to it on headphones, and everything was fantastic. Like, I actually loved every track then. So the audio quality was definitely a big factor here. But I don't know what to make of, like, in terms of engaging an album, how important is that mix? Because listening in the car is a pretty universal way to listen to music. So I don't know. Maybe it's a me problem. I'm not sure. Just going into the tracks. Opens with Trinidad. This is a real statement song. It's not really like a single. It's really mostly an intro, but it really sets it resets Geese up. Like, this is who we are. This is what we're doing, and then it's got that fucking screaming like, there's a fucking bomb in my car or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, 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 I get it. Not something you're gonna play on the aux at an event, but it is definitely a really catchy song. I really appreciate it. Then there's Cobra, which I think is really cute, makes you feel all fuzzy inside. And then it kind of gets into the kind of bad mix era, the kind of area of the album I wasn't really appreciating at the start. So there's like Husbands, which I think really got way better on headphones. The backing guitar like sort of just completely swallowed or had no oomph to them originally, but once I got them in headphones, I was like, okay, this song is really cool. Getting Killed was probably the worst offender for this. I did enjoy it a lot more in headphones, but definitely still the mix feels a little uneven. And then, of course, we got to Islands of Men, which I've already talked about. And it is a great track, despite my random nitpick. So, and this is really, I think, when the album really ramps up in a really good way. Like, 100 Horses, really worthy of the name. The energy is palpable. And, like, Cameron Winter, the vocalist, is really a presence in the song. You feel, like, the weight of his experience in the vocal here. I really, really like it. Like it. Oh my god. Half Real. I love here Cameron Winter showing his vocal range, and he brings a real tenderness and vulnerability to the track, which the piano complements so well. The backing vocals and instruments tie this whole track together as well, really, really nicely, especially on the headphones. Then there's Oh Pays du Cocaine. I don't know if that's the pronunciation, I apologize or not, but this hook is infectious. It's gorgeous, and then the refrain at the end is so tender, and you know the vocals really deliver the emotion, the passion to sell it. It's fantastic. You see a lot of bands with these kind of songs that end with refrains, like your Hey Jude, things like that. But a lot of bands when they try it, it just falls flat. It doesn't have that kind of feeling, and I really think Cameron Winter's vocals really sell this in a way that's really essential for a refrain to work. If there's like a refrain and you're not into it, it just feels like such dead weight. It's like, oh, it's just repeating, whatever like that. So really like this one. Bow Down is my favorite track. Like, what an infectious fucking hook. I said infectious hook the last track as well, but this track is nasty. Like, such a slick guitar lick and vocal performance. There's really catching lyrics as well. I kind of really like the themes of the song. And it really, and this is really important to me always, it really plays with momentum and tempo, which is like really important for my taste in music. Each new step in the song as well, like each new phase is really exciting and refreshing, but it's never like a jarring switch either. So really, really good. And it's a whole lot of song for just 3.5 minutes. Like this feels like it doesn't feel long, but it feels like there's so much in it that it should be long. So a really, really good one. Taxes. I just wrote for this. Cameron Winter is a Republican, and by that I mean the American kind. But no, yeah, it's a really beautiful song, you know, with despair and hope. I really like it. And then Island City, Here I Come is fantastic. It's a really good ending to the album, really climactic and gratifying. You really feel the sense of like time running out, and it's like a race to get to Long Island. I don't think the song's actually a race, but that's what it feels like. Especially with that really cool bass line like halfway, and it really has that kind of like vibe of like you're rushing to get somewhere. It's fantastic. I really like. I think I mentioned it a few times already, but Cameron Winter's vocals in general, I think it's really cool. It's a really weird mix of like I think House Painters, Ott, Julian Casablancas, and when he's hitting the high notes, Will Toledo. I think. There's also that kind of bit of sometimes he'll go a bit rambly or off kilter, which I also really like. Um, and yeah, I have a note here as well. Like I love how concise the tracks are. Like this kind of music can often spiral into these kind of self-indulgent 12-minute tracks, these operas, you know, and it can be great, it can be fantastic, but it is quite demanding. And this album kind of respects your time and shows that you can achieve these big dramatic songs in just 3 minutes still. So I really appreciate that. Takeaways: don't trust audio quality necessarily, and don't always trust your first listen. I always find it kind of tough when I'm doing this and I listen to an album from back to front, like out of nowhere. You know, I don't have any singles saved. I don't know any of the songs because I feel like you know it's much easier if you kind of like like dip your toes in the water first, and you have one such track you really like, and you can look forward to that, and then you can kind of build your love of the album around that. But when it's just one big album, you can often get a bad first listen, and I've been thrown off a lot of albums in the past doing that. So I'm really glad I kind of got the chance today to kind of re-listen to this a few times and also try different audio formats and really kind of grow to love this album. So yeah, so shout out to everyone who put me onto this. I know it was at least Eddie, Graham, and Leo, but I know there are others as well. And yeah, I'm not gonna drag this on anymore. But thank you so much. Right.